Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is another Saturday. It is another weekend. I'm your lone Wafoosel, and I'm here to bring you some court cases. And ladies and gentlemen, it's been a crazy week out there. This is going to be kind of a best of show. You may have seen some of these videos, but now is your opportunity to help me comment on some of them and watch it live and chat as we dig into some of the best cases that we've seen all week long. We're going to start off with Judge Wolf, ladies and gentlemen. This is not from this week. This is actually from a Friday a week ago. from the 16th. But this guy is crazy, guys. This guy's crazy. You're gonna dig it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're doing these things in consecutive order. We're starting on the 16th from last week, and all of it starts right now.
Bring out Mr. Vaughn. So is Mr. Vaughn set for trial? Okay. All right, Mr. Vaughn, we're here today because you have filed a number of different motions, and I want to address those motions with you, give you an opportunity to be heard. So if you want to come to the podium, since you are representing yourself, I will deal with each of those motions. First of all, let me advise you that in April of this year, you sent a notice stating that it was to the judge of record, stating that on the 15th day of April 2025, I have some concerns that I wish to speak to you about before I file papers in your court. I'm letting you know this isn't a request for advice. It concerns actions by your staff of the courts and yourself. With the utmost respect, I write this ex parte letter. If we can meet in private, I will. If I can't meet in private, I'll file it publicly and the order will be noticed. I could not speak with you privately because of the rules of conduct for judges. So the first notice or first motion that you have filed has been a request for a criminal record, and states that you're requesting the courts to move the state to furnish the defendant with a copy of a prior criminal record per Rule 16 of Discovery and Inspection, Rules of Criminal Procedure. If I understand correctly, you're asking for a copy of your criminal record?
Yes, all them requests, the motion discovery is supposed to provide all that anyway, so that is summing up half the motions. I mistakenly filed them separately.
That's fine.
Some of them.
You're entitled to discovery requests. Here, when you have a lawyer, a lot of times what will happen is the lawyer will be given access to the electronic system that the DA's office has implemented, where all of the discovery information, all of the evidence is loaded into an electronic system that then the defense lawyer can access that defense. Now, you don't have that ability representing yourself, so I'm going to order that all of the evidence in Mr. Vaughn's case needs to be put into written form, hard copies, and he needs to be provided with that.
Judge, the problem with that is going to be that there are videos from his arrest. One of his charges is retaliation for past action. And so there are videos from the officers in the jail at that time. And that's going to be one of the largest problems in providing that to him.
No, sir. That's not a problem. I filed a civil suit years ago. They provided me with the DVD, and that was my issue to deal with after that. And they allowed me to go into the office privately, view my own case, to fight my own case before, so that is not an issue.
Sounds like he's got it solved.
Okay.
You provide him with a DVD or a video on a compact disc, he'll access it as he needs to at the jail.
Okay.
All right, when is this going to be? Because I've been doing some of this since 2021. I'm tired of coming here looking at y'all. Like, this is going on for a minute. This is getting ridiculous. This is my first. I still ain't got a motion yet.
A motion?
I ain't got a motion yet. All the attorneys I had, all the public defenders I've had, nobody have provided me with nothing yet.
Okay. Well, I'm going to deal with all of that today because you're going to get written discovery. You're going to get a copy of any videos so that you can look at them yourself. How long will it take for him to be allowed? His trial date's in September. How long will it take to get the hard copies of the written discovery? All right, we'll have it within.
Ben, she should have it today.
We'll have it within 10 days. Okay. You have a second motion, which is a motion to remove your counsel. Mr. Spratt was appointed as what is generally referred to as elbow counsel. You want to represent yourself, and I've granted you that opportunity. I've also appointed Mr. Spratt to assist you in representing yourself so that he can, because you don't understand, I assume, the rules of evidence and the rules of criminal procedure fully as if you had been to law school. So having a lawyer who can assist you in making objections to evidence, for example, and things that's the reason that you have elbow counsel. So Mr. Spratt was appointed, and he has tried a number of criminal cases, is very competent as an attorney, and that's the reason. So why do you want to dismiss your elbow counsel or your assistant
For
counsel?
one, the court doesn't respect the fact I'm pro se. They prefer to talk to him instead of to me. And anything should come through me first. He's an assistant. For two, Mr. Spratt, since December, has had a sickness or illness going on, which is on record in Humphreys County Jail, where he never could show up out there. I called 2 or 3 times. I should have had the motion discovery he just handed me.
All right, well, that's part of life, that people have illnesses and sickness. I am going.
Not for a month and a half. I'm sorry, sir. Excuse me, but not for a month and a half. I mean, he ain't able to help me.
Well, I'm of the opinion that Mr. Spratt is able to help you with this because he is only elbow counsel. You're representing yourself. I will order that the discovery and motions that are filed in his court need to be sent directly to Mr. Vaughn rather than a copy to Mr. Spratt directly to Mr. Vaughn so that he gets a copy without having to wait for his co-counsel. No, you just have to mail it to him and he'll receive it. So I'm denying at this time your motion to remove counsel because I think it's important for you to have someone at trial to help you with that. I've ruled you're going to have access to the discovery directly. You're representing yourself. Mr. Spratt's role is as elbow counsel to assist you in, the trial itself.
Well, what about the fact that he couldn't even come to Waverly? How are you going to get to Decatur?
I'm going to appoint Mr. Spratt. You want to address any of that, Mr. Spratt?
I will, Your Honor. I'm not sure of what illness I had for a long time. I was sick back during the holidays. I did just hand Mr. Vaughn his discovery in case number 2021 CR 462. My understanding is the state wishes to proceed to trial in 2022 CR 336. There is no discovery that's been provided to me electronically for that case. When I did finally feel better and go to see Mr. Vaughn, he had been transported to West Tennessee, and I just simply have not been able to make it down there with my schedule. But he does have the discovery, or the written discovery. I did not give him the electronic discovery today because of reasons which he's now clarified.
Well, I told you that too when we talked on the phone. Me and you done been over that.
Let me hear from Mr. Spratt. This is not a time for you and him to discuss.
I mean, I'd be happy to mail him a DVD of anything electronic for that case that I have. I only have discovery for one case.
He needs the discovery for the case he's going to trial on, so let's make sure that that discovery is provided to him. Ms. Bryson says she can provide it to him next week, so I would order that she provide that by mail to Mr. Vaughn next week, as he wants to have it directly, and then a copy to you, Mr. Spratt. All right. I am denying your motion to discharge Mr. Spratt from being your elbow counsel for the reasons I've stated on the record. Another motion you have filed is a demand for speedy trial. Your trial date is in September, which is the next term of court that I have. It's available, and for that reason, I believe that complies with the request for speedy trial that was filed. It is the first available date that we can put into play according to our rotation of judges and our schedule that we have. That is the first available day. The September date does, in my opinion, comply with your request. Case won't be continued, so we'll need to make sure that it is ready for trial on that day. The remaining motions that you have filed are all motions for discovery, which I think you had mentioned before, and I think we've now addressed that. So he's set for trial on September the 19th, is that correct? That needs to be shown to be first on the docket.
Excuse me, sir.
Docket, so that we'll go to trial. And let me address this. You filed a motion to recuse, notice of recusal or request for the master clerk, and you're asking to recuse or to somehow recuse the clerk of the court, and there is no basis that you have no basis, you have no standing under the law to ask this court to disqualify the clerk of the court. I understand your reasons for why you say that, and I have addressed the problems that you're saying you've had thus far with receiving copies of things, and that's going to be mailed directly to you. The court file will have it reflected that you are to receive all of those as lead counsel in your case, and I am not of the opinion that you have a basis in law or in fact to remove or ask for a recusal of the circuit court clerk. So that motion is denied. In addition to that, you had a motion to recuse the court recorder. And again, I have no idea why you would allege that there is a reason for that, but I don't find any basis for removal or that you have standing to remove the court reporter. She worked for me, and under that basis, I don't find there's any reason.
Well, then me and you have a conflict then, because you was on there doing the same thing they was doing. You want to put this on YouTube and not act a professional? Y'all want to make jokes in here? And then they don't want to file the paperwork? How am I going to get a fair trial here?
You're going to get a fair trial because you're going to be tried according to the law and the facts. And a jury of impartial people who know nothing about your case will make the decision.
So if I want to make an appeal and she ain't recording it, how are we going to do that?
She will be recording it if it is a felony case. There are certain times when the cases are not recorded, or if we're on break, it's not recorded, but.
Well, we wasn't on break because, look, I just walked out the courtroom and I said something after we went on break. You said omitted. And she said, well, I ain't got to omit it. She said I wasn't recording no way. So how can I appeal something if y'all taking it out of the record without me being present during the proceedings?
Well, first of all, I don't recall any such thing that
Well,
you're
go back and look at the
referring to.
video.
I'm not required to go back and look at the video, Mr. Vaughn. I'm required to make decisions based upon whether or not you have standing for the motions that you filed. In my opinion, you don't have any standing to ask this court to discharge our court reporter or our clerk. And for that reason, I'm denying those two motions.
Well, recuse yourself because you're not doing it. You're not doing it.
And there's no basis for me to recuse myself.
Is this being recorded?
If you want to file a motion for me to recuse myself, then I will deal with that under Rule 10, and then I will address
I'm familiar
that.
with all the rules. Y'all sit me in jail long enough, best believe I read them.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's all.
All right. Thank you.
Briefly, if I may, when would Mr. Vaughn be transported up for this trial? Because the trial that
I
I
done put
mentioned.
in 3 motions for that. That ain't get heard neither.
I'm just asking the court, because the trial that I have in Davidson County that I mentioned in the earlier matter is the first of that week. We do not expect that to be a 5-day trial. But I'm wondering if I'd be able to meet with him to strategize at all for this trial beforehand, other than Thursday, the 18th.
We can order that he be transported earlier if you just tell me when you want. The 17th?
No, I like my cigarettes where I'm at. I don't need his assistance.
Okay, well, that'd be fine, Your Honor.
That's fine with us.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. You step back.
Oh, I'm leaving the room.
And that was that guy. But ladies and gentlemen, from Sov Cit, the crazy cat fights in Thurston County, this is Judge Meyer with one of the craziest cases I've seen pieces of all week long. I'm looking forward to seeing all of it with you right now. Let's comment about it together. Cat fight in court, shall we? It starts right now.
Ms. Meyer, can you come on the Zoom call, please? Ms. Adams, come on up and take a seat. So you folks live in the same complex there?
Yes, we live in the same, it's like a shared home almost. I guess you could say it's like a duplex almost.
And so, Ms. Myers, I'll start with you. Could you raise your, and again, I should say, as far as I know, no relation. She has the same last name as I do, but I'm not related to her, I don't think. And so, you raise your right hand, ma'am. You swear and affirm the information testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down. Um, how is it you need an order against Ms. Adams?
So there has been so many instances where I have just felt like she's been coming to my window, yelling through my window, and I have just kind of been putting up with it. I wasn't sure what to do, so I called the cops because she had been yelling through my window one night and I was ignoring her, and she's screaming and yelling about my cat. And my son was laying on the couch and he started crying. So I noticed that it started to like affect him because he got scared. So then I called the cops and
What is she yelling?
she's yelling, "You need to come get your cat. It's cold outside. They need to come inside." And yelling like, "I'm gonna call Animal Protective Services or whatever." She seems to be super concerned about my animals, or she's calling my animals a lot, and I've told her to just leave them alone. Um, this was in the middle of the night, so I called the cops. I just had
What do you
told
mean
them,
by the middle of the night? The middle of the night can be 6:30 at night to someone, some other
well,
people, the middle of the night's 2 a.m.
it was dark, so but it wasn't like 2 a.m. I want to say it was like 7 o'clock at night because my
I
son
see.
was still up. Um, so when
How
I,
many animals do you have? You said my animals, and then I heard about a cat. You have more than
yeah,
one animal?
I do. I have 3 cats.
Okay, continue on, sorry.
That's okay. So I contacted the police and I told them that this has been something that I just like, I'm not sure what to do. She's yelling through my window, she's scaring my son, and it's gotten to the point where I feel like I can't like open my blinds. I have to cover windows. She doesn't really listen when it comes to me just saying like to leave me alone. I at first I told them I was like I don't have like any proof. I'm like this has all been like verbal, and they're actually the ones that um like told me to get an anti-harassment protection order because they're like if she's just saying these things and you get that protection order, then that means that when you call, then we can actually do something. But every time that it would happen, I would call just to like put it on record. I don't have a record of the police, of me calling the police because I tried to get like a online and I submitted to get records and then it said it took 5 days and then they weren't able to get them. And so then I have to wait another 5 days. So it just, I wasn't able to get those specific ones. But I did have a friend that was present during one of these instances where she brought her kids over. And whenever her kids come over, she'll come to the window, my window, and say they can play for a little bit, but after that, they can't play because she can't take the screaming. And our kids are like 11, 8, 2 are 11 and like 8. So they're just playing like normal kids will. And when we told her that just to like leave us alone, she started calling me a bitch. She's yelling, "You're a bitch. You're just a bitch." And then she's like, "Do you want to fight?" And for me, it just is causing me anxiety because it's around my son. And I've talked to the landlord. Even the maintenance people have come to me and said that she'll yell at them as well to like leave or so it's just like a constant thing. And the only reason I'm even doing this protection order right now is because my son is getting affected by it. Like he even is so anxious about it, or when she comes to the window, he'll be like, "Can we just move?" Because it's such a constant. And she isn't doing anything to us like physically, but it's to the point where it's like mentally where we're just like can't even be comfortable in our home.
And how long have you lived there?
I've lived here for almost 2 years in August.
And then, was she there when you got there, or did she
She,
move in after that?
she wasn't. She moved in after. And the
And
landlord
how
had
did things go? It sounds like I read some of your I mean, you had some texts from other people. It sounds like things started off well, or at least not bad.
Yeah, they were okay in the beginning. The landlord had told me because he wanted to he knew that I had my son who's young, he's 11, and that I work night shift. So he was talking to me about like trying to bring someone in that's quiet and who isn't going to be loud because he's like, I know you work night shift. So he was under the impression that there wasn't going to be any issues. When I started going to him about it, he would apologize to me and he would say like, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize that she was going to be this difficult. I would text him and he would say like I'm going to talk to her. And when he would talk to her, it would go little periods of time where she would just leave me alone, but then it would just escalate after that. And I personally like when I live in places, and I've lived in a lot of places. I've lived in Georgia, I've lived in Kansas. I lived on military posts where I've never had this happen. So I wasn't sure what to do. Um it's just come to the point where my son can't even play outside, or my friend doesn't even want to come over with their kids because she's like, oh, she's gonna come yell at us, or my son is like, she'll tell me stuff about the cat, and she's like even directly talking to my son sometimes, and he's 11.
Okay. Let me hear from her. Hang on just a second. You submitted a video.
I did. So once this started, and I had talked to the cops, and I had told them, I'm like, I have no proof because it's all been verbal. They advised me to get a camera for my front door. And they said that they would be able to use those because I said that to them. I was like, am I even able to use that? Like, and they're like, yeah, we use it all the time in instances. Can I add one more thing as well, just to add
Yes.
to the story? There is like this one hose, and it does sound very trivial, but so there's a hose that we share, and it has like a spigot, like the nozzle on the end, and we're supposed to share it. She took it off and said that she was going to keep it in her place because she has had it stolen before. I've almost been here for 2 years and I've had no issues, like nothing. Nobody's come onto the property. It's been safe. I've had no issues at all. So I just let it be because I don't want it to be an issue. So my friend lent me a hose and the spigot on the end, or the trigger thing that you put to like wash a car or whatever. I went back,
Nozzle.
yeah, a nozzle. I went back out there and
Okay.
it was gone. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like she took it." And
Okay.
I'm like, for me to go knock on her door to ask for something that is mine, I didn't even want to do that because I'm like, I already know this is going to be an issue. She's going to say something about the nozzle. She's going to like, you don't just take something that's not yours. So I did contact the police and I apologized so many times because I feel like I'm wasting their time. And I told them, I was like, I'm so sorry. They keep reassuring me. They're like, no, this is what we're here for. It's not okay that this happened. She shouldn't be doing these kinds of things. And I'm like, and I know it's such a trivial thing, but I shouldn't have to like worry about my property being taken by someone. And then I have to go knock on their door to be like, can you please give it back? She tried to imply that her one in the back was stolen. I don't even go in the back in her area at all. At all. Like I don't touch anything back there. She
Did
said
you
that
get your nozzle back?
I did. She gave it back to them. So she did say that she took it. So that's like the thing too that I'm like, I don't
Right.
understand. So it's just been an ongoing issue.
Let me hear from her.
Okay.
Ma'am, raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I can put your hand down. What's your response to what you just heard?
Did you receive, this is 11 pages of my,
When did that come in?
I didn't know I was supposed to have it like a week ahead of time. I got reprimanded at the counter. I brought it
when-
in Wednesday or Thursday. It's directly to you or your honor.
Respondents exhibits. No, I did not see that, to tell you the truth. 12 pages.
Do you want to take a moment and read it? It's
Yeah,
not
I
really,
do.
okay, I'll be quiet then.
Um, So, I don't know if you had a chance to read what she submitted there, Ms. Meyer.
I didn't, not if it wasn't able to go through.
No, it was all handwritten and it's there, but it was submitted on Wednesday. You know, on at the final paragraph, and I have a number of questions.
Okay.
And the first is, I'm fine with never having to interact with Bianca Meyer or her son again. However, I expect the same consideration. I do not want her, her son, her friend, or her friend's children anywhere within my sight. I don't want any of them to set foot in your yard. Isn't it a shared yard?
It's not really, the way it's situated, it's an old house. And when I moved in just a little over a year ago, and she'd moved in, and it doesn't really matter how long, but just 4 months before me. It seems to be an issue with her. So she's in the old house, and part of it goes off like here and in the back. And it was just a big room, and the landlord converted into a house, basically. So so she has the front yard. I would prefer it the other way around, but because I'm responsible for mowing the backyard. She has no entrance. She doesn't have a back door. In my contract, it says I'm responsible for mowing the lawn and taking care of the lawn, and which I broke my wrist completely in half by trying to move a branch. But not only that, it's private. How I live and move about in my apartment is private. The landlord has, I probably shouldn't mention it because it'll get repeated back. There's some gossiping going on, I've noticed, in that circle, but where he's come on the property, and we're not always, this is my home, and it's private back there. There's fence, and everybody's out there. So you walk about your home comfortable. I'm not
I'm not completely following everything you're saying to me. My question to you, I think, was a pretty simple one.
okay.
And that is the backyard shared? And it's not uncommon to have common areas in rental property, like
It
an
is not in
apartment.
the
You can have-
contract.
ma'am,
It
please
is
don't
not in the
interrupt me.
contract.
Can you please not interrupt me, please?
I'm sorry.
I won't interrupt you either, all right? So, but is the general understanding that's a common area where, I mean, she apparently has a kid who sometimes hangs out there with friends. Is that she was telling me, and someplace else in there, that was a shared backyard. And so is that, or is that not the case in your opinion?
It is not. And also, I'm very, very disappointed, and I'm surprised that she's done this because I've been very generous to her. I've given her furniture, I've given her clothes, I've given her linen, I've taken care of her cats while she started a graveyard shift at the hospital in Tacoma. I don't believe that her son is a nervous type. She leaves him home all night long by himself. He's fine at 11. I've talked with the boy. I've offered if he's afraid, I'm right there. You can come and talk to me. I've given him a guitar. I've just been neighborly. And like I said, I took care of her cats for a couple of weeks while she got acclimated. And how I took care of them is she couldn't get them in the house, and they needed to be in the house. She expects me not to speak to her cats. We're all right there together. We share a laundry room, but her cats are on top of my car. I don't mind. It's a 24-year-old car. They like to sleep on the sunroof. Pearl was there yesterday. She doesn't even want me to speak to them. And they're on my deck. And Jordan, one of the boy cats, managed to get in. He chewed his way through the pet thing that I had made and got into the house. And I have 6 cats myself, but it wasn't a friendly environment for the first 6 months when I moved in. She did not want me to go into her yard. She came out and yelled at me and embarrassed me in front of the maintenance guy. And I was just standing there asking him if I could make him a couple sandwiches for lunch. And she comes out and her friend's right there with her. And I needed to cross over to her yard to go around to the back to carry lumber. I'm not going to carry it through my house. like that because I was building a pet enclosure. She has repeatedly told me she does not want me in her front yard. I'm not lingering. And I also, and I'm sorry, I mean, if the landlord could rig something else up with the faucet, I'm fine. But it's right there. I'm not, their curtains are closed a lot. And I did communicate with her through her window. Sometimes she'd sit on the couch, her and Hunter, and we'd visit a little bit for whatever the reason was. I wasn't yelling at her. I did call out to her, and I mentioned that about Pearl. She just had surgery and it was pouring down rain, and I was leaving to go to the store, and Pearl was looking at me to get her in, and she wasn't responding. But anyway, no, we were friends. We weren't friends. I want to say we were friends, even though she helped me with some things too. I broke my wrist. She zipped up my pants for me, offered to take me to the ER. She took my cat litter in for me. She took my water in for me. And so and all of a sudden in January, I offered to have her cat, I got a $300 voucher to have Pearl fixed and set up the appointment. She was all fine with it. All of a sudden, no, that's off. I said, that's fine. I'm not going to do any more. I won't do any more for you. And I walked out of the picture. So I'm not in it the first 6 months. I feel attacked. And then she started approaching me. She helped me dig a hole. I lost one of my cats. I'm out in the backyard digging a hole with a broken wrist. She had dug the first few holes, So we were interacting neighborly. I had told her originally after the first 6 months, and I saw it wasn't going well. I said, look, we're going to get along one way or another because I'm not moving. And maybe that is her goal. My landlord has never come to me and said there was a problem. When she puts her arm, people will do this to us without doing this, okay? And I stay away. I've never been okay with the kids in the backyard. This is my home. Sometimes I walk to get something in the kitchen or whatever, naked. I really don't want that to come back to the court and say I was showing myself naked to the children when I don't even know that they're out there. It is a private backyard. She doesn't have entrance through the back door. There is nothing in my contract said that it was shared. And for the first year, but the kids didn't go back there. And all of a sudden one day I come home and there's, why should I have to put up with all these other kids that don't even live there in my backyard screaming? I'm not a well person as it is. I have a lot of health issues and I need peace and quiet in my own home. And that's all I'm asking for. I can stay away from her. I don't need to anything. And I won't. It's not reconcilable at all. I'm really hurt by her because I've given her nice furniture and other things. I've just tried to be neighborly with her, and I'm really disappointed that she has felt that she needs to do this. The nozzle, it happened more in the apartment I lived in. Somebody took my nozzle, cut the end of the hose. So that's just habit. She knows I was in a habit of doing that. Didn't steal anything. She goes on to say that I stole her possessions. What possessions? It was the nozzle. And I had a heart attack, 10 o'clock at night. I've got 2 police officers at my door. I've got a family too. And I'm thinking something's happened to them over a nozzle. She knows all she has to do is ask me. I did get upset because when I went to the window, because the kids were out playing when I came home that day, and it's all in here. And I asked, I just talked to the window, and her friend was standing right there. There's no sense in knocking. They're probably not even going to come anyway, to tell her friend to tell the kids to quiet down. Because that's all. And her son was not present. He was in the backyard when I went there, because it's right there. And he was there when I went back. She's lying to you. She's lying to the court.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Yeah, give me a minute here. Go ahead, ma'am, Ms. Meyer.
So the first time that the incident happened with the kids in the backyard, which the yard is huge. It's a really huge backyard. Like right behind the house, there's another set of apartments that kids all play in back there. Like we're surrounded by houses. So there's kids that play in this on the other side of the fence. So the first time that this happened with the yard, I did talk to the landlord and I did say, She's saying that the yard isn't shared. I just like wanted to make sure because I'm like, if it's not shared, then I won't have Hunter go back there. And he said, no, the backyard is shared. He said that it's an open area. He's like, why would there be that big backyard if your son couldn't play in it? Like there was even toys, there was even like a house back there that he put back there for my son to play with. Um, in regards to her saying that she has been generous, um, I know that she is elderly. I know that she's older. I tried to be polite and I just have been trying to be nice. So, yes, of course, like when she asks me for help or when she wants to say like, "Oh, I have this for you." I'm like, "Oh, sure, like I'll look through it." But that doesn't like justify the way that she has been talking to me or the way that she approaches my window or anything. Like I have never given her anything. I've helped her with things, but I'm not saying like, "Oh, I've been generous to her. So because I've been that way, that should give her no right to do anything to me." That's not the case. So I have
What
never
about the guitar?
the guitar. I don't, she gave my son a guitar and she told me, and I was like, "Oh, that's really nice." And then she asked for it back. So that was the end of the story for that.
How
There,
long did he have the guitar?
oh, not very long. He didn't really play with it. I want to say it was like maybe a few weeks or so. Like she gave it and then it was just kind of there. And then she asked for it back and then that was the end of it. Um, And I didn't even think anything of that. I didn't even remember that until she said that. But I will say that when she says that she's supposed to mow her own lawn, I'm not sure how that is for her because for me, um the landlord has maintenance people that come out and mow it. They take care of that on my side at least. So um there was one instance where right in front of my door, I heard yelling and there was stuff going on. So I went out there and I was like, "What's going on?" And the maintenance men are like, "Oh, we went out to the backyard to mow the lawn, but your neighbor came out and started yelling at us saying like, 'What are you doing on my property?'" So we stopped and we came out and then she's doing that and I'm like, "What's going on?" Like I kept trying to figure out what was going on and she's like, "This has nothing to do with you. This has nothing to do with you." So it was just kind of like an issue, but it's all happening in by my front door. And in those videos that I sent you, it shows her walking in the front door, like through the front of like my door. And the reason that I say that there's no reason for her to be in the front is because she has access to the backyard through her area. And for her to come out in front, it's like I'm surrounded by her basically. So she'll walk out and she'll come around to my window, yell through my window. She'll walk around all the way to the back. Plus she has, so it's, I feel like I'm surrounded where she's in the back and I never go back there unless my son is playing. And it's so, I like, I was gonna even like draw a diagram because I'm like, the yard is so far back there. It's not even close to her place. She has a huge patio and the yard is way in the back. So they're not even close to her windows or anything. And they're not even interested in like what's going on over here around her. They're out there playing and they're not screaming. They're only 8 and 11. So I have talked to the landlord. He has confirmed that it is a shared yard. The maintenance men have come to me multiple times about her. And even just a few days ago, they came out and mowed my lawn and they were like, I brought my wife and I like he's the maintenance guy's like I brought my girlfriend to help me mow the lawn and I'm trying to move quickly because I know that the neighbor might yell or do something. So they are even aware. They brought it to me about the way that she's speaking to them and I just apologize. I'm just like I know I feel the same way because I can't even be in my home because she comes and yells in the windows. So it's not something that I'm just like throwing up out of thin air. Like it's something that has been ongoing. I've just kind of dealt with it because I'm like, I don't know what else to do. And then my family and my friends have come to me and been like, "No, that's harassment. You don't just like have someone come to your window and yell through the window." I am not a yeller. I don't scream. I don't yell. I'm a single mom. I've raised my son. He's 11 years old, and she says that he's not a nervous kid. My son is literally has anxiety. He's been diagnosed with sensory. delay because he gets overstimulated in situations. If I have to like give you documents about his IEP and his anxiety, like I can also do that. My son lives in a two-house household. He lives with his dad, he lives with me. It's not always an easy situation. And for me, this is solely about my son. I just don't want him to feel like we have to worry about the neighbor coming to the window. Like he will tell me like, Mom, like we should just move because it's so much. Like it's gotten to a point where it's so much. She says that she's going to leave me alone, but I have left her alone since the incident with the cat and the vet. I
Hang on
just
just a minute. Sorry, Ms. Meyer. Find out who that is and don't let them in until they identify themselves. You may continue, Ms. Meyer.
I also just like want to add that if I need to, because I did talk to the landlord about this, he is aware that I have filed this anti-harassment and he advised me to like go ahead. So I've been told by multiple people that it's something that I should just do because I don't know what to do at this point. She, even her saying like she knows when my son is here alone or things like that, like that's like how even just saying things like that is how she's aware of like things that are going on. I have a friend that comes and picks him up. He's with his dad part of the night. So that's even that I'm like, she's so focused and knows what is going on in my place or around me. So that I don't have any idea what's going on with her ever because she's constantly over here. So the reason that she says that she says that I'll leave her alone and I won't have any contact with her. We tried that with the cat and it just escalated and got worse. So that's why I'm at the point where I'm like, if this doesn't go through, is it going to make me to the point where I'm going to have to move? Because she says that she's not going to talk to me or leave me alone. But I feel like since that it has escalated because that last incident where she was yelling through my window calling me a bitch, she literally was like, "You're a bitch. Do you want to fight?" Like she literally was yelling that through my window. My friend was there too and she I sent you the document of when she said that. Like that it's come to the point where it's just too much. My landlord already confirmed that it's a backyard that is shared. He's already confirmed that. And he's been here when the kids were in the backyard. He has been here present and he's never approached me and he did not say they need to go in the front because that's her backyard. And if I need to get like a letter or something from the landlord, I can also do that because I know that he has talked to her. And he, even in that, I sent you a text message from him as well, even saying like, I'm going to talk to her. She needs to leave you alone. Like he's been aware of it.
Go ahead. I'll hear from you, ma'am.
There's a video.
Yes. I mean, it's very short. I don't think it shows
What
me that
is it
much.
of? Am I calling her out to fight with the broken wrist?
No,
I'm
there's
70
no-
years
as
old.
far as I
I
can-
don't do
Okay,
that.
so,
That's a lie.
okay.
But if it's on the recording and I
No,
don't know what, and
there's-
maybe I'm out of my mind or something.
You know, earlier you had said like the landlord favors her. What did you mean by that?
He does, excuse me?
What did you mean by that?
He does favor. He was, all right, here's an example. She requested an immediate protection order. The day that, I'll get to that, because he was screaming at me about her being out there. So she
The
ordered.
landlord was screaming at you.
Landlord was screaming at me, and I said, "You're showing favoritism." So she filed a immediate protection order on May 5th. You've read this. On the next day, I'm standing on my deck. The landlord had come out because there's a problem with the raccoons. So he's out in the backyard too. She comes out around her house. So she's coming around the back. And so there's this opening between the fence and the house. And she's standing there with her friend, and I'm on the deck, and she's faced toward me and giving me the dirtiest looks. She's provoking me. And then she's leaning into her friend, whispering. And I told the landlord, she's standing right there, provoking me. This is I have no privacy here. So she did that. And then exactly 6 days later, the maintenance guy, I guess, brought his girlfriend. I've never had a problem with them. When I first moved in, I didn't know. The landlord doesn't give you any notice. He's just all over the place. But I'm standing in my kitchen. I'm going, who's this guy in my backyard? I yelled out, what are you doing in my backyard? That was the end of it. That was all it was. She's made more out of it than it is. She's adding things to things and blowing them up to make a case for herself. And she's lying. So again, so the maintenance guy comes over. He's got his girlfriend. This was May 12th, 6 days from. She needs that immediate protection from me. I can see that the maintenance guy, he was mowing my little lawn, part of my lawn, what I cut out for myself. And his wife was there, I guess, her girlfriend, and over by where she was at, she was hiding there between the house and the fence, gossiping. That's what she's doing. I've had nothing to do with her. Since January, when she declined my offer to take the cat to the vet because she told me she didn't have any money to pay for Pearl to get fixed because Pearl had gotten pregnant twice. The cats are all over the place. I don't know how she expects me not to talk to them or have anything to do with them. They're all over the place. Then I told her I was leaving from my house. It was going to the store. It was pouring down rain, and I could see her in there. I don't go to her window. I had gone to her when we were talking a couple different times. If I went up to her, I can't help it that the nozzle's by her window. I don't even look at it now, but I had left that night, it's pouring down rain, and Pearl she was all over the place trying to get in the house, and she couldn't get her attention. And I said, Pearl needs to come in. I'm not screaming. I'm at my car in the driveway. And she ignores me. And I could tell she heard me.
So ma'am, I'm just going to stop you for a second, but I frankly feel like you're raising a voice at me.
I'm not raising it. I'm absolutely not. I'm upset that I'm being accused and that she's making it sound like more than it is. This is me. When I get upset, I'm going to get a little bit loud. And she's lying. She's just lying. She's trying to use this to try to get me evicted is what she's trying to do.
What's the situation with your cats, ma'am, Ms. Meyer?
Yes. I rescued Pearl, the one she was talking about, and she got pregnant. I couldn't afford to get her fixed. She's fixed now. She offered to help me with it, and I was like, sure, like that would be great. But she wanted me to put up like $300 and something, which is a lot for me. So I ended up just finding somewhere where I could do it for 90. And so then I told her that. I just simply said, I scheduled something else and it's $90, and that was the end of it. And she was like, I could tell she was upset. She's like, don't ask me to help you anymore. Like, don't ask me to help you. And then she left, and I was just like, okay. My cats are outdoor and indoor cats. They'll come and like meow at the door when they want to come in. So then I'll let them in. There was no issues with the cats just like roaming. I have friends that have indoor and outdoor cats. It's pretty normal. And then at night I get them in here. The only reason that I feel like they're even by her door or by her car, or they go out into her porch, is because she puts food out there. So she talks about like a raccoon issue, but she puts food out in the front and in the back. And her cats are only indoor cats. So of course it's going to attract animals, or my cats are going to go over there and eat the food that she puts out. And she seen me look at her. I wasn't staring her down. And so then she starts to yell and says, she's staring me down. Don't you see her? She's staring me down. And then that's why the landlord raised his voice, is because she was yelling. So then he yelled and he said, she's not doing anything. She can look wherever she wants to look. And then he says, like, that's why he raised his voice. So he wasn't directly yelling at her. He was yelling because she was yelling and he was trying to de-escalate the situation.
Okay. Timeout. Who's all still here with me? Apparently there was some type of network disruption. So I anticipate there's a lot of people out there who got a spinny spin. Am I getting this right? Everybody, yeah, okay. Everybody got the spinny spin. So, welcome back. Sorry for the spinny spin. I'm going to back the video up just a little bit. Yeah. Thank you, Xfinity. We do appreciate you. We do appreciate you. Gonna sit here for just a second while we get things spun back up. On my end, things are looking pretty copacetic. I'm looking at chat. I'm looking at you, chat. Are you ready to get started? You ready to get this thing back on the road? Because I have this thing right here. Backed it up about 30 seconds or a minute, something like that. So, we ready to do the dance? Yes, please, Barry says. I think we've given this enough time. I think we've given this enough time. Ladies and gentlemen, back to the show.
And she seen me look at her. I wasn't staring her down. And so then she starts to yell and says, "She's staring me down. Don't you see her? She's staring me down." And then that's why the landlord raised his voice, is because she was yelling. So then he yelled and he said, "She's not doing anything. She can look wherever she wants to look." And then he says, like, that's why he raised his voice. So he wasn't directly yelling at her. He was yelling because she was yelling and he was trying to de-escalate the situation. I wasn't going back there to provoke her. I just wanted to make sure that she wasn't going to talk to the kids, because the kids will come in here and you know how it is with like 8-year-olds and 11-year-olds. They will tell you every single thing that everybody is saying. They'll tell you every single thing. So that's why I was like, I don't want them to see anything. I just don't want them to be around like the dysfunction. My son has never been around people yelling at him like that, so he's not used to it. I know that right now it sounds like it's like so much like she said, like a he said, she said situation. And that's what I was afraid of. And that's what I talked to the cops about. Because I was like, so far, it's just been so many verbal things. I have no intention of trying to get her evicted. That's not why I'm doing this. I just want it to be something where I know for a fact that she's not going to talk to me or talk to my son. The window, she says that she comes, like she literally is saying, I come and talk to her through the window. That isn't a normal behavior. I've lived in apartments, I've lived in duplexes. I've never had neighbors come and talk to me through the window. They will knock on my door, and if I don't answer, I don't answer. And then that's that. And if they want to see me, or they'll leave a note or something, but it's never, I feel like she's saying, even her saying like I come to her window, or like it's just getting to be too much. So I know, and I've talked to the landlord, he doesn't favor me. I think it's because of the way that I speak to him, and we both hold respect for each other, that he is speaking to me the way that he's speaking to me. I've never had any issues. I've never had to call him for anything. If there's something that needs to be fixed, I fix it. I even feel bad even contacting him about this, because he already has so many things that he needs to worry about. And then me saying like, oh, this is the neighbors here talking to me again. The neighbors here going through coming to my window again. It's just gotten to be too much.
You can have the final word there.
I will. She's lying. I got her a $300 voucher in my name. I obviously being a senior, I can get help from other resources. I've never asked her to pay for it. That's why she said she didn't have the money. So she's lying. It was a $300 voucher, and I made the appointment with my vet. Anyway, so she's lying about that. I've never yelled at her son, ever. There's been no kids around in the backyard for an entire year, and then all of a sudden all these kids just show up. But I have never yelled at her. Yes, I'm loud because I'm upset right now, you know? and that's just part of my emotional makeup. That's just how it goes. As far as talking to her through her window, we were cordial at that time. The way it's situated is it's a long driveway, and I go drive all the way to the back, and she just pulls up on the gravel. And she has one of those old picture windows. Well, I see her, the curtain was open, we're getting along, and the window's open a little bit. I walk past and, oh, hi. And instead of going to the door, instead of her getting up, she has to walk around a sectional couch, I chit-chatted with her for a second. There's nothing, I don't see anything odd or mental about that. It's just being neighborly, period. And anyway, she's literally is just taking everything. I will go back to this video. Is that lawful? I mean, it's on private property. I didn't know I was being videotaped.
It's okay to have a security camera over your front door, which is what she has.
Never saw one, and I was
doesn't
kind
mean
of
it's not there.
suspicious, huh?
Doesn't mean it's not there.
Okay, but shouldn't it be posted that it's there?
No.
I read online that it should.
I don't,
Oh, okay,
I
well,
don't think
wow.
so.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get one too, but I didn't have that kind of money. Can she see me?
Can she see you
Yeah.
from here? Yes, I assume so. She's got her
Okay.
camera on.
So anyway, this is just going back and forth. I am troubled about the continuing. It wasn't so. All I asked for was the kids to have the kids to quiet down. That's all. That's it. Oh, as far as her son, she's making it kind of sound like I'm kind of being a little creepy with her son. I knew that he was home the last time that I knew he was home. I was out spraying the rocks and everything else off the long driveway, and I saw him in there. And I just went up there and talked to him for a minute. He shared some things about himself with me, and I'm right here if you get scared or anything. I've always been nice to him. And he had the guitar for a couple months, but it doesn't matter the length of time. My daughter came over. I didn't know that she still wanted it back because it's a sentimental thing. She doesn't even play. I was going to, and I wrote that. I was looking around for something else to replace it, but none of this is going to happen now. I'm through with her. I don't want her coming in. If the kids come back in there, and kids are loud, and little girls, they're screeching. They're like that. All this kind of behavior, standing there intimidating me. Well, I'm in my own house, or I'm on my deck enjoying my day with my cats, and her friend. Her friend's terrible. Her friend's kind of nasty. She's one that set me off that day. That's why I called her a bitch. And the fight. Oh, well, I don't have to get into that with you. We know that's not true. Then whatever you want to do.
Thank you.
She's going to say whatever she wants to say, and boy, this is going to come back to bite her in her lifetime. Shouldn't be dishonest. She will be found out.
So a couple of things. I previously read the definition of unlawful harassment. I'm going to do it again. Unlawful harassment is a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, harasses, or is detrimental to such person and serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. Course of conduct must be such as would cause a reasonable person to suffer substantial emotional distress and must actually cause substantial emotional distress to the petitioner. Course of conduct is a series of acts over a period of time, however short, evidencing continuity of purpose. Course of conduct includes any form of communication, contact, or conduct, including the sending and it gets in electronic communication. We don't need to do that. You know, this is, these are tough cases, but on the other hand, unfortunately, we see these sorts of cases quite frequently, either apartment complexes, and as far as I can tell, these are two living establishments on the same piece of property, as far as I can tell. Is that accurate?
It is.
Can we agree on that?
It is.
And so apparently there's a shared again, Ms. Meyer told me this is a shared backyard. You say there's nothing in their contract about that. But Ms. Myers indicated that the landlord has indicated that's a shared backyard. And that makes sense to me, given the description of the premises. On the other hand, orders of these sorts, in such confined areas, can be problematic. They can be difficult to enforce. They can create all kinds of things about whether or not, does this violate the order or not? If there's distance restrictions, don't come within X amount of feet and all that sort of stuff. And Ms. Meyer comes and she's listed a number of things that Ms. Adams is alleged to have done. And again, you're right in the sense, and Ms. Adams is right in the sense that, yeah, just talking to someone through their window, yeah, that's not a problem. People do that when you walk by. Oh, yeah, how's it going? And that's one characterization of the communication between the conversation through the window. On the other hand, Ms. Meyer says, no, she comes and stands at my window and berates me and tells me all the things I'm doing wrong with regard to the cats and my child, I should say, it's not children. And the kids are in the back and all this sort of stuff. And so one person's conversation is another person's, for lack of a better word, harassment. And, and I kind of have to judge this based on, I judge it on a lot of things, what's been submitted, evidence, and the testimony of witnesses and evidence combined with how people behave in court and the manner in which they present themselves. And so you had indicated earlier, I can do what I want. And yes, thank you. I do have the discretion to enter an order that I feel is appropriate. And
May I say one last thing? And then I'll leave you alone,
I'm not sure how I can stop you, but go ahead.
just for fun. She,
I'm going to stop you about that.
she
hang
indicated,
on just a second.
I just want to see her
Just
response.
stop for a minute.
Oh.
Listen to me.
Okay,
Okay. So, actually that throwaway comment actually tells me quite a lot. This isn't fun. This
It's
isn't fun
not.
for her. I don't think it's fun for you. It's not very much fun for me to sit there and listen to two people who live next to each other and are going to continue to live next to each other. So when you say things like, well, this is just for fun, kind of tells me how seriously you're taking it. Now, go ahead. You wanted to say something? Go right ahead.
well, I that just kind of popped out of my mouth because I'm bewildered about this, that anybody would say something about another person like this. But I see she does like to gossip. I'm curious as her explanation of she checked that I tried to kill myself. Could we get a response for that? Because I did indicate I couldn't understand it for the longest time, and I wanted to respond to that. And so I Googled it, and there is an explanation of why somebody would start that kind of a rumor. And I would like to hear why she would check that on that thing.
Ms. Meyer, go ahead.
I'm not exactly sure what she's talking about.
Okay, so hang on just a minute. Let me look at your petition. I assume that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Where are you talking about?
I'm gonna get it, because I wouldn't have said anything about it if it wasn't on here.
It says on the petition on page 12 of the position, it says suicidal behavior. Describe any threats. And
That's
that's
not
blank.
it. There's another place. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just trying to find it for myself. I saw that too, but that's not it. Just 1 second. I think it's before that. Well, she must know she checked it, because,
She said she didn't know what you were talking about.
yeah. Well, I do know what I'm talking about. It's in here. I just need a minute. I'm just overly anxious right now. my heart, here it is. It's on page 2. It says, disability, hazard, and weapon information about the restrained person. And it's checked suicide attempt or threats. First, she says,
That was on the law enforcement.
yeah, it says, does a restrained person have a disability, brain injury, or impairment?
That was on the
And it says
LEA.
unknown, and then it's checked suicide attempt. I don't have that in my life.
So it does check that in the information that was sent, the law enforcement. Do you know why that box was checked, Ms. Meyer?
I don't. I did. If she's saying that it has, like, if there's multiple things, if it says like,
No, it
Those-
says, does this person have a disability, brain injury, or impairment? That's unknown. Hazard information, history includes, and then the box checks. Suicide attempt or threats.
I must have read it where it said or threats, which I was assuming was like threatening. So I thought it was like a multiple thing.
That meant suicide attempt or threats of suicide. So do you take that perceived as threats to you?
Yeah, when she was telling me like, do you want to fight? I was assuming that it was just threats in general. I didn't realize that it said it's to like pertaining to suicide. But there has
So
nothing.
do you have any thoughts of that, or do you remember anything like, oh, I see what you're saying. But you're not saying there that you're aware of any suicide attempts or not.
No, absolutely not.
Does that clear that up for you?
Yeah. I apologize for my
It's all right.
outburst. I'm very upset by the whole thing because I have to live so close to her and I can't move. I've moved myself out. I'm not well enough to move again, so she can't live with it and she wants to make all this stuff up. I don't know what else to say about it. But I don't know what to tell her about her cats. That's up to you because they're all, and I don't feed them anymore. The landlord did make an issue about me putting the food out, and so I'm not putting any out since he was here. He's in
Yeah,
Florida
well, let
right
me
now.
ask you, why would you do that?
The food?
Yeah,
Okay, because it's cat food. I have 6 cats
right.
and a lot of
I'm
time,
told
and
they're all inside though.
yes, my cats are inside. That's why I
So why
had
would
to,
you put cat food outside?
well, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay,
And they're not allowed outside. They just have the enclosure on the deck. But they're spoiled. They always have a lot of food, dry food and wet food. And there's always leftover. And I don't want anything to go into the garbage. And so I put it out. Well, anyway.
so hang on a second.
Yes.
So you're saying your cats, you put that out there,
Because there's leftovers.
okay, for leftover of your food.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you realize that attracts like other hang on, let me finish, please. The cats and raccoons, which are a danger
Yes.
to cats.
Yes.
And so that by leaving that food out there, that attracts
Yes.
those cat
Well, I have
predators.
a raccoon and some babies underneath the house now. They're tearing up underneath the kitchen floor.
Right.
And we're working on that. And I've got a mother and father possum. They're the cutest thing. I got videos on that. And I got a little gray mouse that lives underneath the house. And that little raccoon come up to the door the other day. It was the cutest thing. I have a glass window for my door, and it was like this. I haven't looked out, walking past, I haven't looked out, and it was like this. It was the raccoon, the mama. She just lost a bunch of weight. She asked him for the food.
Right.
It was so
But do
cute.
you understand, while
Yeah.
raccoons are very cute, and I agree with that, those are dangerous for cats.
They already want 2 of them
And so
already
they're,
stole one of my cats and
Right.
took it and ate it. I know. they
right, so
are.
why would you put something out there that attracts them?
I know. I'm my heart's double on that. I know because 2 of them did take it.
So here's where I'm at, ma'am. Based on, and again, of course, I have to make certain, I'm hearing one thing from you, I'm hearing another thing from Ms. Meyer. And then and I know this has probably gone on longer than either one of you would have liked, but nonetheless, here we are. And so I have to make determinations one way or the other and, make credibility assessments and then just make a decision based on everything that I've presented. And for what I'm going to do basically is, I do find that and maybe you didn't realize it, and maybe you do now, that your behavior and the interactions between you and Ms. Meyer has gone beyond what one would perceive as normal and does go into harassing behavior. So an order is going to be entered, and the only parameter of this order is, like a lot of times we have, don't engage in stalking behavior, which really isn't the case. Can't do really a distance restriction because I can't enter an order that makes you leave or anything like that. You're just not to contact her or her child. Don't communicate with her. Don't do anything. Some of the things you say, I don't necessarily find to be, you might think that she was provoking you, but I can't make any for finding that she did anything to provoke you. She was just out there and she gave me a mean look. Well, I just don't look at that as being provocative. And also, it makes sense to me that that's a shared yard, and that's a big yard that, kids are going to play in. And kids, you have at least one child you mentioned.
I don't have any children.
I thought you said your daughter was on the guitar. Was I wrong about that?
My children are in their 50s.
I
I'm
know.
70 years old.
Well, but they're still your children. And when they were young, I'll bet when they played, they made some noise. And so my point being that if you have experience raising children. And when children play with friends outdoors, that sometimes can be loud. And that's just goes with the territory of kids playing. And so, and that's, again, I'm just saying that just for the purpose of saying that. So the order is going to be entered. It's going to be in one place, and you're just not to. And by the other point I was going to make, these cats are Ms. Meyer's responsibility. And she's the one who needs to look after them and all that sort of stuff. And you're not the. And so you just need to remember that and let her take care of her own cats. However, if she's doing something wrong or what have you, that can be up to other people, but you're not to be responsible or worried about her cats. You understand that?
I quit feeding them.
Okay. And so that's where it's at, and it'll exist for 1 year. And that's where we're at. Do you have any questions at all about what this order is going to say?
I'm still concerned about her and her friend standing out in the backyard and trying to intimidate me. I really, truly am. Her friend is not a pleasant person at all.
Your Honor, can I say something?
No, I don't think you should at this time.
Okay.
I'm going to say something though, and that is, her friend isn't here. And, people are going to be able to stand where they're allowed to be. They can stand in the shared backyard. You can too. And you're just not to talk to each other. And if you have an issue with her friend, you can, you can take whatever steps that are necessary to deal with that. Or, but that's, I'm not this order doesn't going to govern who she can have over and all that sort of stuff. And if they start doing something, harassing to you, you can bring it back and we can talk about that. But her friend's not here. She's not a part of this right now. Good. I hope so.
I do.
And I hope that if you two can stay away from each other and leave each other alone, things will calm down and everybody can live peacefully in their own place.
What's she gonna do about her cats? They're all over. I'm not feeding them, but they're on my deck. They're on the roof. They're on top of the car. And I quit feeding them. I know they want to eat, but I said, no, I'll get in trouble. It doesn't want me to talk. How do you not talk to cats?
Okay. There's nothing in the order that restrains you from talking to cats.
Well, thank you. Because I don't want the cops to have to waste their time to come out and do that, and I don't want to run over the poor Pearl while she's underneath my car. I love them. I love the cats. And I'm not feeding them. I'm trying to get a raccoon to come out underneath the house so we can trap her with the babies and be done with it. I'm not going to put food out after once I get the raccoons out.
Have you talked with your landlord about the raccoons?
Yeah, we're working on it. He actually had, when the maintenance guy bring a trap, he didn't set the trap up right, but yeah, that's the problem because he never goes back to check on it, and you can't leave her. You can't
Raccoons
leave.
can present issues for humans as well.
Huh? Yes, absolutely. Oh, well, that's why we're trapping it. But he brought it out. He didn't set up right. Whoever came out and didn't even tell me that it was trapping. You can't leave a defenseless animal trapped up in a trap and not, and let it starve to death in a trap. So we're working on it. Landlord's in Florida. He'll be back in 2 weeks. We're taking care of it. Because he's doing, it's under there, tearing up the kitchen floor. I don't want my floor tore up.
I don't think your landlord does either.
No, he doesn't. We're working on it.
We'll give you a copy of that order for you to go. Any questions? Again, I'm gonna leave with this, and I hope you take this to heart, Ms. Adams. You're just not to contact Ms. Meyer or her child, communicate with her in any way.
And that goes with them too.
No, it does not.
Oh.
The only person on this order is the petitioner.
They can contact me and bother me.
If they contact you, then you can go and get your own order. But right now, the only person who's subject to the order,
Well, I
she's the
may have to
petitioner.
do that.
You can certainly do that.
Certainly do that.
That's it for today, ma'am. Ms. Meyer, a copy of this order will get emailed to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And you're free to go, ma'am.
And ladies and gentlemen, the only people subject to this order is you, because we're going to Kansas to see Judge Webster. She's got a couple of guys who are in custody. Man, they both got really interesting stories. The second guy, he just can't quit talking. Not pretty. Ladies and gentlemen, starts right now.
Good afternoon. Who do we have in the county jail?
Douglas Brogan.
We're on the record in the 13th Judicial District, the District Court of Greenwood, County, Kansas. This comes on for hearing on our regularly scheduled Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, first appearance docket. We are on the record specifically in case number 2025, CR 66, State of Kansas versus Douglas Paul Eugene Brogan. County Attorney Jill Gillette appears for the state. Mr. Brogan appears in person and pro se. Mr. Brogan, at this time, you are charged with count 1, aggravated robbery. In that count, the state is alleging that on or about the 15th day of May, 2025 in Greenwood County, Kansas, you did then and there, contrary to the statutes of the state of Kansas, unlawfully and knowingly take a cell phone by force, kicking, punching, and grabbing the throat of Jessica Goodwater, inflicting bodily harm while doing so in violation of KSA 215420B2. As charged, this is a level 3 person felony, which means that if you were to be convicted, you could be given a sentence ranging from 55 months to 247 months with a $300,000 fine. That time would be served in the Kansas Department of Corrections, commonly known as prison. In count 2, you're charged with aggravated domestic battery on that date. You're accused of unlawfully and knowingly impeding the normal breathing by applying pressure to the throat, chest, or the person, Jessica Goodwater, with whom you have an active no contact order, and did so in a rude, insulting, or angry manner, to wit, grabbing her by the throat and throwing her down on the road, and that the two of you have a romantic relationship. This is charged as a level 7 person felony. If convicted, your sentence would range from 11 to 34 months in prison, and your fine could be up to $100,000. In count 3, you're accused of the criminal threat to commit violence communicated with the intent to place in fear Jessica Goodwater by threatening and yelling at her that you were going to kill her before you went back to jail again. And you did this while she was on the phone with local dispatch. And this is charged as a level 9 person felony, which if convicted would range in sentencing from 5 to 17 months in prison with a $100,000 fine. In count 4, you're accused of violating a protective order issued as a condition of pretrial supervision in Greenwood County Case 24 CR 224. You were to not have contact with Jessica Goodwater, but were allegedly with her on May 15th, 2025. If convicted, that is charged as a Class A misdemeanor, causing you to be looking at 12 months maximum jail sentence and a $2,500 maximum fine. In count 5, you're accused of theft of the cell phone with the intent to permanently deprive the owner, Jessica Goodwin, of the property having a value of less than $1,500, making this a Class A non-person misdemeanor, punishable by a maximum 12 months in jail and a maximum $2,500 fine. In count 6, you're accused of driving while your driver's license was revoked as a habitual violator. Another Class A misdemeanor, meaning that if you were to be convicted, you could be looking at yet another year in the county jail and another fine up to $2,500. In count 7, you're accused of domestic battery of Jessica Goodwater. That is unlawfully and knowingly causing physical contact with Jessica Goodwater, with whom you were involved in a dating relationship or household member. And this physical contact was done in a rude, insulting, or angry manner. They say you pulled out a clump of her hair, hit her, left bruises on her, and threw her on the gravel, then kicking her head, causing bleeding, swelling, and bruises. And this is charged as a Class B person misdemeanor. If convicted, you could serve up to 6 months in the county jail and pay a $1,000 fine. Finally, in count 8, you're accused of transporting an open container of alcoholic beverage, to wit, an open beer can. And that is charged as an unclassified misdemeanor. The specific penalties for that include up to $200 in fines and 6 months possible county jail time. Because some of these are felonies, we need to set this for a preliminary hearing, but we also need to determine what you're going to do about an attorney. Are you going to hire an attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed you didn't turn in an application for court-appointed attorney. Did you intend to?
No, ma'am. I have an attorney I'm going to hire.
Who are you hiring, please?
Vince Vaughn out of Iola.
Vince Vaughn?
Yes,
Out of
ma'am.
Iola. All right, we'll make a note that you're planning to hire attorney Vince Vaughn out of Iola. If you determine that you cannot afford to hire him or any other attorney, you need to come to the courthouse as soon as possible and get an application for court appointed, because these are felonies and you are looking at some serious possible consequences, as I've gone over with you. So, Missy, when will his preliminary hearing be?
1:30.
I didn't hear the date.
June 20th at 1:30.
June 20th at 1:30. That will be your preliminary hearing control. It will not be the hearing in which the evidence is presented, because I want to first make sure that you show up with your attorney and that you actually want a hearing, as opposed to waiving a hearing. So you need to be back here June 20th at 1:30. You need to have your attorney here. And then, Ms. Gillette, does the state want to be heard on bond?
Your Honor, there's two cases now going. I have filed a motion to revoke bond in the other case. I let his attorney know that I'd be trying to set that for trial. In the previous case, I also let his attorney know where he was so that he could get in touch with him and find him.
So you've been speaking with Mr. Vaughn?
Mr. Vaughn is hired on his previous case. His previous case is 24 CR 224. There is a no contact order in that case with the victim. His preliminary hearing in the prior case is set for June 6th, 2025 at 1:30. So if we couldn't get a hearing sooner, I was going to notice up the motion to revoke bond in the prior case for that date. My recommendation and that case is aggravated domestic battery as well. And I am asking for $150,000 bond, considering this is the second aggravated battery in a very short time period. And it's against the no contact order in the prior case.
You want to be heard on the issue of bond, Mr. Brogan?
If I may, please.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, ma'am. I completely understand the severity of these charges. However, I mean, previous to this last one that she just was talking about, I've never had any convictions or charges anywhere near these type of charges. I'm a single father. I have property and a farm with livestock. I just was hoping that there would be a bond available, maybe not quite as high as 150,000. I'm a single parent. I'm zero flight risk, ma'am. I'm not going anywhere. I have property here in Greenwood County. My father just passed. His funeral is on the 1st of June. I was just hoping to, have some opportunity to at least try to get a bail or bond. And like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm zero chance of fleeing. Just realize the severity of these charges, and I would like the opportunity to somewhat get my farm in place, because obviously I probably will be, spending some time in here or in jail. It would be a blessing if I was able to get things in order, because I have property with cattle and goats and things of that nature that they depend on me to survive out there. And I just was hoping to have an opportunity to bond, ma'am. That's all.
Ms. July, it looks like in Woodson County, he has 24 CR 28, criminal threat, driving while suspended third. And his last activity on that was April 21st of 2025 with the disposition. That must be sentencing, because it says disposition 3/20 of 25. So he must have sentencing coming up. Are you aware of that one?
I'm not, Your Honor.
May I speak on that?
If you like.
So that case is settled. We pled to that. It's just a DUI plea and driving on suspended. That was what we pled to, and I've been sentenced to that for 1 year probation.
All right.
And
What about, it looks like there's something else maybe pending that hasn't been resolved in that county?
no,
Or did they consolidate the two cases? The DUI was in the other case, and you pled to it, and
I only had one case in Woodson County, and it was originally like a criminal threat on there, but we pled down to just DUI and driving on suspended, I believe is what the results were.
Okay.
As
Alright,
far
so-
as far as like violent crimes or anything of that nature, person crimes, I've never had anything like that whatsoever.
Any convictions, you mean?
Yes. Well, until
You have the
this,
charge.
just
You have the
yes,
charge.
yes,
but you
ma'am.
pled to DUI. And was the same woman the alleged victim in that case?
The last two
Woodson?
here in Greenwood County is yes, through with the same woman, Jessica Goodwater. She's
And was
been
she
the
one
only.
in Woodson? Was
No,
she the
the
victim in Woodson?
no, that was towards the officer. That was with the officer the criminal threat that they were in Woodson was with like the officer. I was just,
Okay.
it
You
wasn't
don't
a,
have to say, you don't have to say anymore. That answered my question.
He does
Okay.
the show cause pending with court services
And Woodson? Or
On-
Green?
or TR 79.
Okay. Oh, that's Greenwood. I think 150,000 is pretty reasonable. I think we could even justify going higher with all the activities that I'm seeing here and the serious nature of them, the threat to the community, particularly this alleged victim, but you know, you've got other things going on in there over the years. I'm going to set the bond recommendation at 150,000. And if you go anywhere near this alleged victim again, anywhere near her, her family, her place of residence, her employment, you even drive by and wave at her, there's a good probability you'll get your bond revoked with a no bond hold and you can sit in jail until these are all resolved. You understand that, Mr. Brogan?
yes, ma'am.
And you're also going to, if you make bond, have an electronic monitoring device that will alert if you go anywhere near the places she's known to be. And I don't know what your history is as this woman. Maybe she calls you and says, hey, honey, come on over. If she does that, hang up the phone. She's not the one on bond, you are. I have no reason to suspect she does that, but sometimes that happens. And if it does, you have nothing to do with her, even if she initiates it. All right, if there's nothing further,
Judge,
yes.
I didn't realize he had a case already set on June 6th. So could we put both of the cases together on June 6th?
Sure, you'll need to make a condition of your bond that you reappear June 6th, and what time is that?
1:30.
June 6th instead of June 20th. Deputy, did you note that?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, June 6th, 1:30. You must be back here with your attorney. Anything else from either party? We'll
No,
be in
ma'am.
recess at this time. Thank you, Mr. Brogan. Excuse me, ma'am, who is the lady at the courthouse? Ms. Gillette, was that the alleged victim?
No.
I'm sorry, are you involved in that case? A witness? Are you a witness or an alleged victim?
Family member.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm a family member.
Okay, all right, well, I just needed to know if you were someone that's entitled to speak and if you wanted to speak, but thank you. You may go. All right, sir, what is your name, please?
Harry Bogart.
We are on the record in 2025 CR 64, State of Kansas versus Terry Lynn Bogart. County Attorney Jill Gillette appears for the state. And Mr. Bogart appears in person, in custody, and pro se. Mr. Bogart, in this case, you are charged with count 1, aggravated kidnapping. Specifically, the state alleges that on or about the 11th day of May, 2025, in Greenwood County, Kansas, you, Terry L. Bogart, then and there, contrary to the statutes of the state of Kansas, did unlawfully and knowingly take or confine any person accomplished by force, threat, or deception with the intent to terrorize the victim, and did so with bodily harm inflicted upon the person kidnapped, to wit, Nicole Sumter. This is charged as a level 1 person felony, which means that if you were to be convicted, are you hearing me okay?
Judge, you're
Yeah.
kind of quiet.
No, we can certainly fix that. Is that better?
Maybe a little bit more.
I'm
Okay.
normal, Judge. I don't know if it's their setup or if there's something wrong.
It could possibly be.
All right. Well, as I said, Mr. Bogart, in count 1, you're charged with aggravated kidnapping of Nicole Sumter. Did you hear that, or do you need me to go over that again?
Yes, I heard that.
All right. That is a level 1 person felony. That means that if you were to be convicted of this charge, you could be sentenced anywhere from at least 147 months up to 653 months in the Kansas Department of Corrections, commonly known as prison. You also could be ordered to pay a fine up to $300,000. In count 2, you are charged of aggravated battery of Nicole Sumter. That is unknowingly or unlawfully and knowingly causing physical contact with her in a manner whereby great bodily harm, disfigurement, or death could be inflicted, and you did so with a deadly weapon, hitting her in the head and the abdomen with a baseball bat. Is that comical? Is that funny?
Well, unfortunately, this woman that claims this, she's like 3 times my size. She's at least 300 pounds heavier than me, first off. Secondly, this situation, all we did was argue. She was on methamphetamine. I mean,
Well, I probably ought to stop you there. Your attorney wouldn't want you speaking, but I did wonder what was comical, what was humorous in an aggravated kidnapping and aggravated battery charge. And you've told
because
me
all I
of
did
it.
was tell the woman she needed to go to her room and relax because she was claiming there was people
Right.
running around my house out in the country.
All right. Well, your attorney again would tell you to stop talking. And we'll talk more about the attorney issue shortly. But it is alleged that you struck her with a bat, which could be a deadly weapon, and you did so in a manner where great bodily harm, disfigurement, or death could have been inflicted. As charged, this is a level 7 person felony. The penalties range from 11 months to 34 months in prison and a fine up to $100,000.
Oh, I would like to see the weapons.
All right.
I would
You'll
like
be
to see the
entitled to
weapons.
see that. You and your attorney will be entitled to see that. In count 3, you're charged with criminal threat, allegedly threatening to commit violence communicated with the intent to place another in fear, to wit, Nicole Sumter, by threatening to cut her into pieces while holding a knife to her throat. And you also threatened, apparently, they're saying, to throw her remains in a river. This is charged as a level 9 person felony. If convicted, the sentencing range you could receive would be from 5 months minimum up to 17 months maximum in prison, and you could be given another fine of up to $100,000. Then in count 4, you are charged with aggravated weapons violation by a convicted felon. In this count, the state alleges that you did unlawfully and knowingly possess a weapon, to wit, a West Point .22 caliber long rifle, having been convicted of a felony, a person felony, in Greenwood County Case 2019 CR 85, to wit, aggravated battery, and that you had not been expunged or pardoned from that. This is a level 9 non-person felony. If convicted, your sentence could range from 5 to 17 months with a fine of up to $100,000. These are all felony charges, so you will want an attorney, and I see you have applied for one.
Yeah.
I have
I've
your
also-
application in front of me.
Also, I would like to see if you could take into consideration that I'm in the process of treatment for glaucoma. I've also have experienced breathing problems here recently with COPD or something like that. I mean, my health is not at the greatest peak. This is why I'm saying all this stuff they're throwing on me is crazy, because I can barely even keep up myself.
How
Let
old are you,
alone,
sir?
huh?
How old are you?
I'm 59, getting ready to turn 60.
Okay, 59, getting ready to turn 60. And
Yeah.
are you
I
employed?
mean, no, at this time, like I said, I was in the middle of, I've already had 3 surgeries on my right eye for glaucoma. I was trying to get that pressure system in my eyes equaled out more so I could do my left eye next. I helped this woman out because she was stuck between a place of nowhere to go and a man that was willing to help her out if she slept with him. My landlord stood there and heard this, and he looked at me. He says, "It's only going to be a couple days." I said, "I really don't feel comfortable with it, but I can deal with it."
All
Wasn't
right, well,
even
again,
24 hours later, after her doing this meth and shooting it in her arm and everything else, that she went on
again,
this.
your attorney would tell you to stop talking. Whether you
No,
listen or not, that's beyond my control. I'm not going to gag you to stop talking, but that's what your attorney would tell you. Your application, excuse me?
so hopefully we can expedite the deal with the attorney so that I can continue my medical procedures, because like I said, I've managed to get my eyesight back in my right eye. I was totally blind in it. I do have a PDF of all my
Okay, well,
medical procedures to show that
okay.
I don't have time for these kid
Well,
games.
sir, I need to, if you're going to pursue this application for attorney, I need just a minute of your attention. You've been unemployed for 4 or more years. Why have you been unemployed? Is it
Because
the
I haven't been,
glaucoma?
yes, I mean, I was walking into walls because I couldn't see right. I
Okay,
didn't know what was
now,
wrong with me.
okay, well, your application says, does anyone live with you? And you said no, but I understood you to say you were giving this woman a place to live.
Just for a couple of days. Yeah, it was just a couple of
Okay.
days. Even my landlord's a witness to this.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. It was just a mutual
Okay, so
agreement.
you don't, sir, just a moment. You don't own the land you rented, and you've indicated that by referencing your landlord. You're single, no dependents other than yourself. Is that right?
Yeah.
Now, for monthly bills, you put worked for landlord for rent. So you're saying
Right.
even though you
Right.
don't,
He's
you work,
he's 80 years old, and I more or less
Alright.
provide a lot of services for him for his property
Okay.
as well where I'm at.
All right, so you work for room and does he pay for your food too?
No, I was getting assistance for that.
Are you still getting that?
As far as I know, I mean,
Okay, so that's through the state of Kansas food assistance.
yeah. I mean, I just, it's what I get for being nice and saying yes to help somebody.
Other than your food assistance and the rent you get from your landlord, do you have any kind of income, disability, or anything of that sort?
No, I was denied disability.
I will appoint an attorney to represent you. My assistant, Missy, who's with us, will
Could you repeat
assign an
that?
attorney. Missy will assign an attorney to you, and if you check back with her in a few days, she'll tell you who that is and how to get a hold of them. Missy, you don't have the appointment yet, do you?
No, I don't.
All right. So make sure you check back. The jailer can make sure you have access to Missy's phone number. And as soon as you find out who your attorney is, contact that attorney. The attorney needs to know your name, your case, and where you're located so he can talk to you. Do you have a phone out there at your landlord's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
So you're getting an attorney. We need to set a date for your next hearing. And Missy, when will that be?
Preliminary hearing control, June 20th at 1:30.
You need to be back here June 20th at 1:30. Why don't you come to the courthouse? Because I think otherwise trying to do this by Zoom would be very challenging. And bond, Miss Gillette, do you want to be heard on the issue of bond?
So can I make a real quick recommendation? Okay, where
All
I'm
right,
staying at,
you
where
can
I'm
go
staying
first.
at, I don't have no transportation. My landlord provides me with that, especially helping go to doctors and all that. And he could verify that I stay there on the property. I don't bother nobody. I stay to myself. I'm a recluse.
All right, what is your landlord's name?
James Meyer,
How do you spell
Meyer,
M-E?
James.
Okay, James Meyer is the landlord. We might want to make a note of that. And he's your sole transportation.
Yes, yes. I mean, we're like brothers, more or less. I mean, he takes care of me, help me with what I need, and I help him.
Okay, and
He,
do you live out in the country? Don't give me your address. Just tell me yes or no.
yes, yes. That's
South
2 miles away from Madison, out in the middle of
Madison.
nowhere.
Okay, all right. Miss Gillette, do we know where this alleged victim is at this time? Is she still on the property?
I don't
No.
know about the property owner, but James Myers is an endorsed witness. That's whose house he ran to during this incident. He went down there to James's house as this incident unfolded. So that's going to be one of the people he's not actually supposed to be having contact with unless the court allows it. My recommendations for bond is 75,000 due to the fact that he has a prior aggravated battery.
Has he been in here anytime recently?
Not since the 2019 case, Your Honor.
Okay. Did he do any time on that, or do you know?
I do not have that file pulled out today.
Okay. All right, well, apparently, okay, there's something pending in Lyon, but it looks like it's civil in nature. And there's today's case. This older gentleman, this 80-some-year-old man that you live nearby, he isn't the victim in this past case, is he?
No.
Okay. It's like you've had some traffic issues over the course of time. Well, you have no income. You live 2 miles outside of Madison. You're looking at some cataract surgery in your left eye when?
That's where I was in the process of getting ready to start setting that appointment and stuff up when this incident happened.
I'm
Through,
going to. And how do you know that lady that was there? Or how long? Let me ask you how long you've known that lady that is allegedly the victim.
I've known her off and on through some friends of in Emporia, and I mean she has a record in Lyon County for being violent up
All
there.
right. And how old is she?
Huh?
Do you know how old she is?
No, not right off the top of my head. I do not.
Okay. Well, I will follow the state's recommendation because of the violent nature of this and the potential threat to this lady. But
I
as
want
soon
to
as you,
understand. I want to understand the last friend I spoke to before I was arrested, that she was back in Emporia, and she was telling people that she had actually set me up and got me arrested.
well, you'll certainly want to talk to your attorney about that. And as soon as you talk to your attorney, the attorney can bring the issue of bond back in front of me so we can consider reducing that if appropriate. I'm setting the bond high now because of the nature and the possible threat to the community and the fact that I'm not sure that you have really strong ties to the community. If it sounds like you've been living there a while, but I need to know more. I need to probably hear from this gentleman that owns the land to see what your arrangement is and so forth. But as soon as you get your attorney, he can bring this back in front of me and I'll review that bond. In the meantime,
Well, could I
regardless of the
ask
amount,
one next
regardless,
question?
hang on,
Sorry,
regardless of
okay,
the
yeah.
amount of the bond, regardless of the amount of the bond, you are to have absolutely no contact with this alleged victim. I'm not going to go so far as say no contact with your landlord, even though he's a potential witness, but you are not to talk about the woman. You are not to talk about the incident that led us here today with him.
Right.
If you
Okay.
get out there and want to start plotting a strategy or talking to him about your defense or what happened, then you can go back to jail on violation of your bond. So
No,
if he tries to talk to you about it, tell him you can't.
right.
All right. Anything further, Miss Gillette? We've got the court date. He's got it getting an attorney and bond at 75,000 professional surety. Anything else from either of you?
Honor.
Yes.
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay. And Mr. Bogart, did you have something that I didn't let you finish a while ago?
Well, I was going to say, should an agreement come with this by my landlord? I'm also going to have character witnesses that'll going to be on my case about this woman and her drug problem she has.
Well,
But
your attorney will want to know all of that information and help you decide what you want to do with it.
so this should be within the next, what, 3 to 5 working days, or how soon should I expect?
You'll know your attorney. Missy's pretty quick about this. As soon as the attorney confirms that he or she'll take the case, probably at the most within a couple of days. If you're still in jail, she'll let the jailer know and pass that on to you.
I'll probably
If you
more
get
likely
out,
be here.
if you get out, you contact my office and Missy will tell you who your attorney is.
Okay.
But I want you talking to that attorney as soon as you find out who he or she is.
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing further, then Mr. Bogart, you'll be excused. Yes, sir.
Okay, as far as being able to communicate with this attorney, once I do find out who it is, what if they don't accept any collect calls or anything? What can I do about that?
Well, deputy, will you allow him to call his?
We allow
attorney?
you guys to call your attorneys if you need to.
All right, there we go. All right, if there's
All right.
nothing further, you're excused, sir. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that leaves one more clip, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to the 22nd in Conahout, Ohio. I think I said that kind of right. Judge Irochi. It's an interesting case. Well, I'm just going to let it speak for itself because it starts right now.
Court is on the record in City of Conneaut in State of Ohio versus Lisa Britton. Case number 23 CRB 142 and 22 CRB 217. These cases are set for a preliminary revocation hearing on a probation violation complaint filed in each case yesterday, May 21st, 2025, along with a warrant that was issued. Ms. Britton is present. She is without counsel on today's date. Also present is Probation Officer Sean Benoit. Ms. Britton, have you received copies of the probation violation complaints filed against you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to read you your rights. So please pay attention to the rights I'm about to read to you. You do have a right to be informed of and to understand the nature and the elements of the complaints filed against you. You also have a right to know the potential penalties that could be imposed. In case number 23 CRB 142, if you are found to have violated your probation, in this case, you do face a maximum 29 days in jail. I could extend your probation for an additional year. You're already at 4 years. I could extend it for up to 5 years, so I could extend it for an additional year, and or I could impose more restrictive community control sanctions, more restrictive than what I've already done. Do you understand the maximum penalties you face in that case?
Yes.
In case number 22 CRB 217, if found to have violated your probation in this case, you do face a maximum jail sentence of 155 days. That is consecutive or in addition to the 29 days in the other case. I could as well extend your probation for an additional 1 year. You're already at 4 years. It would be extended an additional year up to the maximum 5 years, and or I could impose more restrictive community control sanctions, more restrictive than what I have already imposed. Do you understand the maximum potential penalties you face in that case?
Yes.
You have a right to remain silent and not to say anything during this hearing that might incriminate yourself. Any statement you make could be used against you. You also have a right to another hearing, which we call a final revocation hearing. At that final revocation hearing, you would have a right to cross-examine witnesses and to confront evidence presented against you. You would have a right to subpoena witnesses to testify in your behalf. You would have a right to be proven guilty by a preponderance of the evidence and a right not to testify. You also have a right to have an attorney represent you in these cases. And because you are facing possible jail sanctions as a result of the violations filed against you, you do have a right to court-appointed counsel and to have a lawyer assigned to represent you only if you cannot afford one. If you do qualify for court-appointed counsel, there's a $25 application fee and a $50 cost reimbursement assessment that apply. You also have a right to a continuance of this preliminary revocation hearing in order to retain the services of your own attorney or to consult with your own attorney at your own expense. If you are convicted of having violated the terms of your probation in either or both of these cases, you do have a right to appeal the conviction or sentence. That must be done within 30 days of the conviction, and you would be entitled to a court-appointed attorney in the Court of Appeals if you receive a jail sentence and cannot afford a lawyer. If you plead not guilty to these probation violation complaints today, I will set your case for further proceedings, that being a final revocation hearing, and I would set a bond. A bond is set by the court to ensure your appearance at all future proceedings, as well as to protect public safety, and today you have the right to a reasonable bond. You have two plea options that are available to you with respect to each of these probation violation complaints. You can either plead guilty or not guilty. If you plead guilty, that is a complete admission by you to the offense or to the complaint filed. If you plead guilty, the court will find you guilty and then I will impose sentence. The second option is you can plead not guilty. If you plead not guilty, that is a denial by you to the complaint filed. And as I said earlier, if you plead not guilty, I'll set your case or cases for a final revocation hearing in the near future, and I will set a bond. Do you understand all of the rights and plea options I've just explained to you?
Yes.
Okay. Officer, could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, please state your name, your position, and the basis for the probation violation complaints filed against Ms. Britton.
Yes, Your Honor, my name is Sean Benoit. I'm the City of Conneaut probation officer, and the basis of the complaint is that she failed to maintain contact with adult probation, failed to appear for a scheduled appointment on the 20th of May of 2025, and she failed to keep me updated over correct residence. The building manager had moved her stuff out of her apartment at 1165 Lake Road, apartment number 10 on the 15th, which was last Thursday. I don't know what date she moved out. He mentioned the day before, and then I got word that she was staying in another residence. Miss Britton did mention to me that she was planning on moving out and moving into a residence, no address, no owner, with a Mr. Dennis Brundage. I don't know whatever came of that, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions for Officer Benoit?
I spoke with him on Thursday. It was one day we spoke, and he said I had appointments come last week, and he was going to get a hold of me this week to come. Well, in my process of moving, my phones come up missing.
Yeah, I don't want you to. I'm not asking you to testify. I'm not asking you to say anything.
No, I have no questions.
So, do you have any questions for him? No.
Yeah, no, I didn't tell him that I was gonna get a word Dennis Brundage for Bruce Wayne.
Ask him a question. Don't make a comment or statement.
I don't have that.
Okay. The court does find, based on the testimony, that there is probable cause that exists for the filing of probation violation complaints. Okay, Ms. Britton, we're going to start with the first case, the most recent, 23 CRB 142. This is where you were convicted of possession of drug paraphernalia. There are 29 days of jail that are suspended in this case. How do you plead to the probation violation complaint filed against you on May 21st, 2025?
May 21st, 2025.
Both of those complaints that you have in your possession were filed on May 21st, 2025. With respect to the one case where you're convicted of possession of drug paraphernalia, a fourth-degree misdemeanor, and there are 29 days of jail that have been suspended, how do you plead to that probation violation complaint to which the probation officer just testified?
I guess guilty because
I've explained to you the two plea options, guilty or not guilty. Guilty is a complete admission by you to the complaint filed. Not guilty is a denial by you to the complaint filed.
Complaint filed, can I ask a question? It's about me not getting a hold of him and stuff, right?
You just heard him testify to the
Right.
basis of the
So I'm not
complaints.
guilty, sir.
You wish to plead not guilty?
Yes, because I did get it.
Okay. And to the probation violation complaint filed in 22 CRB 217, which essentially contains the same allegations. How do you plead to that complaint?
Not guilty.
Okay, the court will accept your not guilty pleas. Are you asking the court to consider appointing an attorney to represent you?
No. Yes, I think if I should have one.
Excuse me?
Should I have one? Well, that's my question. I mean,
You should have an attorney, yes. But
Then
are
yes,
you,
sir.
the question is, are you asking me to appoint an attorney?
yes, sir.
Do you have any source of income?
No, sir.
I thought you worked.
My car's was towed out the doorstep from Kingsville. I don't understand that.
I don't understand what that has to do with whether you're
The
working or
job
not.
to get from place to place. I'm doing those side.
So you have no source of income at this time.
No, not right now.
I will go ahead and appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Now I'm going to address the issue of bond. Where are you living?
I'm staying at my friend Sean Schreiber's
Where does he live?
Carter Land.
Carter. What's the address?
I don't know the address.
Carter Land. You talking about Ashtabula?
Yes, but he is currently in the process of moving himself also. And I don't know that it's not been discussed.
How long have you been living there?
Since a week ago, not even a week ago, 3, 4, 5 days. And I did get a hold of Dennis to ask if I can go there. And I'm waiting to hear back from him.
Officer, do you have any opinion as to bond in this case?
She has reported in when she, besides this one incident, was the only time she's ever not reported in, Your Honor.
I do see there was a urine drug screen.
Yes, Your Honor. Defendant submitted to a urine drug screen this afternoon, failing the drug screen for ecstasy, THC, methamphetamine, and amphetamine.
How do you think I should act based on the allegations and the test results? How do you think I should react?
Upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I admitted to the lead.
Yeah.
Because the other stuff, no.
Bond is set in the amount of $10,000 cash surety, 10% in each case. You're being taken into custody, head down to jail. The conditions of the bond are no alcohol or drugs, subject to random chemical testing. We'll schedule these cases for a preliminary or final revocation hearing first part of next week. This matter is concluded. Thank you.
The reason that clip made it into today's show, ladies and gentlemen, is because it's a preview. It's a preview of a revocation hearing we're going to see early next week. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an amazing show. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I am your Lone Wolf Oosel. You know what I do. You know how I do it. You know why I do it. I'm here for you every day of the week. You enjoy these little get-togethers and these little chats we have while we're watching court. Come on by every weeknight, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're all hanging out watching daily court dockets of the day, chatting about it, all hanging together. come hang out with us. We'll be doing a lot of that all week long. And, you know, I put out videos like crazy all week, every week, all day, every day. I might even have one coming out today. I'm not sure yet. Hadn't made up my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Saturday, and I want you to go have a great weekend. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for watching these court cases. Come by every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern. And we'll all be here having a weekend review. Thank you all for hanging out. I'm your lone Wafusul, and I'm saying, have a great weekend. I'm out. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Rhonda. Thanks, Lost Tribe. Bro, Barry, Eileen, Magic, Carla, lots of people whose names I can't say. Big Tiff, Northwest. I'm going to try and say Arncartos. That's what that looks like, Arncartos. Marty. I was scrolling. I was like, I know I'm forgetting somebody. I'm forgetting Marty. Of course. But of course, you can never forget Marty. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great weekend.